Melanie Stansbury.
Good morning. It is so wonderful to welcome Mr. President Biden back to Nuevo Mexico. Woo! The last time you visited, Mr. President, our enchanted state, you met with survivors of the Hermit's Peak Canyon fire who shared their stories of sorrow and pain. Thank you, President Biden, for listening to New Mexican voices and for your commitment to help us recover. Senator Luján and I carried their stories to Congress where we passed our historic legislation, the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon Fire Assistance Act, to deliver $2.5 billion to pay for what was lost. Justice was possible because the House, the Senate, and you, Mr. President, took action. We listened to the community and then we delivered. 2 years ago, during our darkest times, I listened to families whose loved one died of COVID, to parents who couldn't have their kids learn in person, and to business owners who couldn't open their doors. We came out of those dark times because we passed the American Rescue Plan. Across my district, business owners tell me that without that bill and help, they would have closed, losing jobs and destroying our vibrant communities. Schools I visit across my huge district proudly show me how they use the funds, from building an early child care center so teachers and parents could come back to the classroom, to improving nutrition so their cafeterias are places that promote health. Monday, I went to Abiquiu Elementary School and listened to the challenges a community has when they don't have internet. Well, Abiquiu schools, farms, and businesses will receive $23 million for broadband because we passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. For too long, rural communities were left out. Not anymore. This law will bring broadband, better roads, and clean water to rural Nuevo Mexico. We are now funding clean water projects from the Navajo Nation to eastern New Mexico. It's not right, though, that Nuevo Mexicanos are taking food out of their grocery carts while greedy corporations put record profits into their bank accounts. We know that inflation is caused by Putin's war, greedy corporations, and supply chain problems. So what have we done about it? Big Pharma profits off the pain of someone like Consuelo, who shared how she struggles to afford her medicine. I and this delegation is standing up to Big Pharma by lowering prescription drug prices with the Inflation Reduction Act. That law will also lower energy prices. It's paid for by making the wealthy pay their fair share. I know our hardworking families are in pain. I won't back down, we won't back down from big corporations or greedy CEOs. To address the supply chain problems, we passed the CHIPS and Science Act to manufacture what we need in New Mexico, here in America, but also here in New Mexico. Mr. President, we believe that New Mexico should be chosen for an innovation hub. Well, our national labs, minority-serving institutions, and your commitment to justice and equity, we could create the enchanted innovation hub. Mr. President, I hope you will help us make that innovation hub in Nuevo Mexico happen. In Jeremiah 29:11, God's plan is for us to prosper, have hope, and a future. My job, our job in Congress, is to help create that prosperity, hope, and a future for the New Mexico we all love. Muchísimas gracias.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you this morning. I am Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, and I am so proud to represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District. And you all are right here in the heart of our congressional district. And we are so proud, honored, and excited to greet and welcome our incredible president today to New Mexico. I also just wanted to share on a personal note, as an alum of our Central New Mexico Community College, I'm particularly excited to be here with so many of our faculty, the leadership, the president, and also I see a lot of our friends in the audience from labor. And yes, and in fact, I am a proud graduate of a number of our trades programs and went to CNM back when it was called the Albuquerque Technical Vocational Institute and took trades classes, in fact, in this very building. In fact, I got my wastewater, OSHA, and hazardous waste certifications here at TVI. I took welding and fire science, and I even took a solar engineering and electronics class, and I don't want to brag, but I do wire a mean circuit. So I am well prepared for the economy of the future, and that's exactly what CNM does, is prepare our students and our tradespeople for our economic opportunities, not only for their families, but also to help spur innovation and economic development for our state. And I couldn't be prouder than to be here today to celebrate the incredible accomplishments not only of our president, but also of our governor and our legislature and our Congress in helping to support trades education and college. In fact, our state, the state of New Mexico, is the very first state in the United States to guarantee a free college and trades education for every single New Mexican. And that would not have happened if it had not been for our governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, and her incredible vision for our state. And that follows on the work that our president has doing tirelessly since he took office to address student debt. In fact, thousands of New Mexicans, over 200,000 New Mexicans are going to receive debt relief, and the vast majority of those individuals are working New Mexicans who work every single day. That is putting money back into the pockets of our families and all of our folks who have gone out there and gotten an education and who are working hard to contribute to our community. I want to say this is a big deal. Millions of Americans, hundreds of thousands of New Mexicans are going to see debt relief. Every single New Mexican who wants to pursue a trades education or a higher education degree now has the opportunity to do this. We are about to make a historic investment in early childhood education this year, and I am proud to be a sponsor of the bill in Congress to help provide congressional authority. New Mexico is leading. We are at the forefront. We are caring for our families, our governor, our president, our legislature, our congressional delegation. We are fighting for New Mexico families to ensure that every single New Mexican gets an education, has the opportunity to pursue their dreams, has the opportunity to thrive, and has the opportunity to pay it forward and invest in our economy. This is what leadership looks like. And in addition to that, we have passed game-changing legislation to invest in our communities, passing one of the largest bipartisan infrastructure bills ever in American history. It's going to rebuild our roads and our water infrastructure and provide opportunities to build broadband all across the state so our communities can connect. We passed the CHIPS Act, which is investing in our innovation and our STEM economy, and it included my very first bill that I filed when I got to Congress, that is a bill that Senator Luján has been championing for years to create partnerships between our national labs, our community colleges, our tribal colleges, and HBCUs to harness the brilliance, creativity, and innovation inside our communities to tackle our biggest challenges in climate change and clean energy. That is what leadership looks like. That is how we are delivering for our people, for our families, and for our communities. So I could not be prouder than to have our president, our governor, our delegation, and local leaders here with us today to celebrate all of the things that we are doing to serve our communities, because it will transform our communities and the opportunity of every child and every student in New Mexico. So it is my great honor now to introduce my amazing colleague and the person who helped to bring much of this important legislation to the United States Senate, Mr. Senator Ben Ray Luján.
I hope everyone is doing well. That's kind of quiet. I hope everyone's doing well today. You can catch your breath, you can relax a little bit as we've all gathered today to welcome the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, right? Our governor, our friend, and our sister, Michelle Lujan Grisham. That deserves a round of applause. I also want to recognize our mayor of the city of Albuquerque, Mayor Tim Keller. Thanks for being with us, Tim, and for your leadership. And while there is so much going on across New Mexico, across America, it turns out there's an election in just a few days. You're going to vote, right? Yes. All right, that's the last I'll say about that. We're here to have a conversation with the President of the United States about his student loan debt relief program and his trades workforce development programs. As our representative said, New Mexico has been leading the way because of the leaders in this room working together, listening to you, ensuring that students have access. And this year we're hearing more and more announcements about how enrollment numbers are up for the first time in decades. That did not happen accidentally. That happened because of the leadership in this room. People from across New Mexico that came together and said we can do better. A legislature that worked with our governor to say, yes, we accept that challenge. And while all that was going on in New Mexico, President Biden was challenging the United States Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives to say we can do better. And if we can't move legislation, he would act on his own. And he kept his word. He's putting faith in each and every one of you by saying, no more, we're not gonna wait, we're gonna get this done. So let's thank President Biden for that. To our brothers and sisters in labor that are here, my dad was a union iron worker. He was a state legislator. He was the Speaker of the House in New Mexico. But he was very proud to serve and to retire as a union iron worker, helping to build facilities in New Mexico that create job opportunities for everyone. I often say about my dad, he was an expert when it came to temperature fluctuation with metals and the right torque it took to keep a piece of metal that was not consistent with the one it was being stuck to or built to. Not many of us can do that. Melanie can. But you talk about the expertise required and the education that goes into these apprenticeship programs and into these trades programs. I was so proud of my dad. Now, there was always an argument at the dinner table because my mom's dad was a union carpenter. Dad was an iron worker, and my brother's IBW. So, unions matter in my house. Unions allowed me to become who I am and to help lead for New Mexicans. So I want to say thank you to all of our labor leaders, all of our friends in here, everyone taking trades programs, everyone moving the ball forward and making sure this is always going to stick. That's what President Biden is ensuring, that there's an opportunity everywhere. I was a non-traditional student. So to every one of you that has come out of school and you're further ahead than me because you've been able to get in school, you got those first 2 years, you're working on those next 2, you're going to work on an advanced degree. You're further ahead than I ever was. But for all of us that are non-traditional students, things work out okay too, as long as the opportunity exists. And that's why these programs matter for families, because they don't give up on anyone and they encourage all of us to come forward and to come back. So to each and every one of you, muchísimas gracias. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for fighting for our rights, especially in light of what the Supreme Court has done. There's so much resting in your hands, in our hands, to make sure we don't let others get mistreated. I want to say thank you for being an example, but for being here today to help welcome President Biden. And as last thing I'll say is, as Teresa shared, to say thank you to him. Because back in June, he came to New Mexico to ensure that families across counties in northern New Mexico would not be forgotten. And he made a commitment then that he would do everything he could to get them the support that they needed, and he kept his word. That's what we have in our governor and in our president. So, everyone, thanks for being here.